Thank you for joining me today, Andy. I'm Andy Hall with me, who is part of the Global Wellness Institute AI committee. He's here to talk through with us some of the things that we can do as spa professionals and leaders with AI. It's obviously a massive topic at the moment. Everyone's
Mm.
talking about it. So I wanted to bring on a specialist so we can really get to grips with the bigger picture and the smaller picture. So, Andy, can you tell me a little bit about your story and how you became interested in AI?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. Um, so it's kind of been a funny journey for me. I've been in the fitness, leisure, wellness space for 20 odd years and started off in operations, but over that time, gradually got introduced to technology and loved it. So I stayed that side, worked in various companies. Digital was the focus. Even had a lovely deep dive into blockchain and crypto, NFTs, and all of that jazz. But through that journey, I connected with some great people, some great companies, and a couple of those connections introduced me to the Global Wellness Institute. And initially, it was a Web3 initiative. But with the way Web3 was going, it's hard to understand and implement into the business. So it's organically kind of transitioned into an AI initiative. And the previous chair left, and there was an opportunity to sit in the seat. So I took the role to chair the AI initiative, and obviously surrounded by great people, brought a few new faces in, and so I wouldn't call myself a specialist, but I'm well connected and have great people around me, so it's always good. So the AI initiative is really where it all took off, and I've been so interested in the latest platforms, tech, and opportunities coming out of AI. Try and keep abreast of all the trends, but again, having great people around me makes that a lot easier because they keep me updated. So it's kind of where it came from.
Yeah, it is super fast paced, isn't it? I mean, I
Yeah,
can imagine that there's so many changes happening so often. You can't be a
yeah.
specialist in everything. You've got to almost niche down, haven't you, to be able to take your learning deeper into those elements?
But also, it's so early. There's so much in front of us, so no one can be really be an expert at the moment. But all you can do is get as many insights and keep on top of the latest trends from lots of different platforms and people, and yeah, back up with good insights as much as you can, because that's what it's all about. And how do you then showcase that from a business perspective? Because that's what most of us really care about, is how do we make things more efficient or utilize AI to make our lives easier. So I think that's the knowledge that people really care about at the moment.
So, what does excite you the most about how AI could transform the spa and wellness industry over the next 8 to 10 years?
I think the biggest thing for me is the spa wellness industry is full of amazing people that socialize and connect and do great stuff with the end consumer, the member, the guest. So and there's still a lot of processes and tasks within that space that take up time, and are boring and mundane. And actually, if we can use AI to make processes and tasks more efficient and convert better, I think that it's that kind of back office task, the back office processes that we need to automate, speed up, but then take that resource that we have there and put it where into the customer facing teams, so they can have effect on what really matters and give the guests the best experience. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. Let's move resource from those mundane tasks that take long time. Potentially we struggle,
Yeah.
with the best conversions, and let's move those resources into customer facing roles and make sure the experience is even better and more personalized. And that's the other thing with it, actually. The point is, with AI, we can enrich data in a way that we can utilize it to hyper personalize the experience more and engage people more. Because data is scary. A lot of people, they don't particularly like using data and analyzing and visualizing. It can be quite complex. So the great thing about AI is it can simplify that, and it can, put it into layman's terms for us, visualize it in nice ways that we understand, but then utilize it in our customer facing areas of the business. So yeah, it's all about hyper personalization and engagement for me, and using that data to get that outcome.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that sometimes those admin tasks can take a long time, and they do take up, and are we ready to analyze the data as such? A lot of people who go into a spa management position or a leadership role haven't necessarily got the sort of data analytics
No.
behind them. They've become a therapist, they've come into their position, they're incredible, the operational side, but actually when it comes to the data analytics,
Yeah.
having help from AI could actually really boost it for them, and really supercharge their spa, because then they can use that data, like you say, to hyper personalize a guest experience, or analyze their pricing. Is their pricing right? I guess
Yeah.
one of the concerns we often hear is that AI might replace the personal touch, the human touch, that defines the spa experience. What's your take on that?
I don't agree. We're social creatures. We really thrive on community and socializing. So the human touch point is so important to help engage and personalize. I just think it complements it really well. If we have access to real time data on an iPad or some kind of device that helps us have an even better interaction, that's what we need. Yeah, it could never replace. And I'm from a PT world back in the day, and people will always want that face to face time with a personal trainer. They love to use them as like to offload as well as get good training. It's the interaction that they pay for, because actually I
Yeah.
could send you a program, you can do it at home, but they'd love to come in and offload and talk about everything possible. Some of the stories I've had over the years, but that's what they want. They want that interaction, and I don't think it will ever change. It just means that we've become better at it because we've got access to that data. For example, if I'm front of house and I've got a screen in front of me, and that person walks through the doors, I can see, the activity they've done over the last 7 days, what bookings they've done over the last year, and any other information that goes into that. But it just means I can pick out a few things and have that real personal conversation and make that interaction even
Yeah.
better. So it's just little things like that that I just don't think you're going to be able to replace the human touch.
Yeah, and I think it's really. I laughed when you said it, but it's so true. A part of the treatment is that hands-on treatment or that
Yeah.
PT class, but actually, a large part of the experience for people is that human element, isn't it? Like you say, I've had a rubbish day, or I'm doing this. It's like that classic hairdresser experience, isn't it? Are you going
Yeah.
anywhere nice on holiday
Yeah.
this summer?
That's
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
actually. AI can complement that, because it can remind you where they're going on holiday. It can tell you, you can hyper personalize it by having that data and putting that
Yeah.
into a system. So next time you have that person who's doing the PT and they've told you their job is stressful, you
Yeah.
can check in with them. And how is your day? How, are you feeling any better? If they go to a different PT, that data's always there, isn't it? I guess. But yeah, no, it did
Exactly.
make me smile, because I think we forget that that is part of the experience, isn't it? That personal
100%,
part of it.
100%. Spending many years in that space, yeah, you know what they're coming back for. It's that interaction. But yeah, I totally understand as well why people they get a bit scared. It's change, it's new, it's evolving really, really quickly. I'm worried, but you just got to embrace it and complement it as much as possible, because it's gonna enhance you in your role rather than take it if you're that customer facing or human touch. They like let's not beat around the bush. There will be some roles that will be gone because, for
Yeah.
example, lead generation. If we're building leads and trying to convert those leads into prospects and into calls or demos or whatever it may be, that part of the journey we probably can replace with AI. It's getting better and better. We're able to use voice. It converts better than humans because it's always consistent with the right knowledge, etc. But I don't see that as a problem. That's where I was talking about resource. Let's take that resource where we had people sat in an office on calls and trying to convert. We don't want that. We want them out the front, interacting with our guests and members. So Let's automate, let's use AI there, brilliant, let's convert better. And then our CTA should always be, let's put you in front of a human and then start your experience. So there will be aspects of that role that will be gone to AI, but I think for the best.
Yeah, you'd like to hope so. I think there is still the potential where people will go, actually, we can save costs, but you'd like to think that hotels especially would recognise that with something so hands-on and something so personal as guest experience that they would move that resource elsewhere. So
Exactly.
I do
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. I mean, you've been leading, as you say at the beginning, the initiative for the Global Wellness Institute. What trends or use cases have stood out to you most in the research and conversations that you're happening globally around AI?
Yeah. Again, it's such early days, so there isn't a massive amount of data around it, especially in wellness, because you've got the early adopters, and the majority tend to see how those early adopters get on before they do anything and take action.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stats, the insights are coming from the direct to consumer space, as you probably can guess, with the likes of ChatGPT and similar models, but the Whoops of the world as well, integrating coaching, which is fantastic. But I think it's that personalized direct to consumer trend that's tapping into biometrics and data that's coming from devices and wearables, etc. That's actually the coaching side of that, and the smart nudges that are coming from that are really interesting, and highlighting behaviors and trends within the consumer's lifestyle that we can work on and improve, and highlighting what we're not doing so well. So there's some amazing things in healthcare, in fitness and leisure coaching, and even in the women's space as well, with the menopause and that type of vertical, where actually there's a lot of women in the world and they need a lot of support with regards to hormones and when they hit that menopause stage. So there's some great wearables and devices out there, and AI is becoming integrated into that to offer support, which is really important. So it's more the direct to consumer, and then when it comes to business, or it's the efficiencies. It's how do we automate these mundane processes and tasks and convert better so that we can, move that resource. So yeah, it's early days. There's still so much to come. So we're keeping a close eye on it. But it's the consumer personalization and then efficiencies in business.
So it's the two separate elements. It's sort of like how do you analyze, how do they, yes, analyze their health, and then how does the spa or the business operate more efficiently?
Yeah,
So it's the kind of
exactly.
the two main trends that are kind of coming through at the moment. Yeah, it's
That's the
interesting you
focus.
mentioned
Yeah,
Whoop. I'm going to digress for it. Yeah, my nephew wears his Whoop and was
yeah,
telling me all about it this weekend, and it can do this and it can do that, and I was like super impressed at the
yeah.
way that it's not the Fitbit that I started with 10
No,
years ago, where you would just look at your steps and be like, okay, now it kind of is coaching him. You haven't slept enough. You haven't had the right level of sleep. Don't work out too much more because you've hit your optimal workout level.
yeah.
I was like, wow. And I mean, I joked to him, I said, it doesn't even have a watch. He's like, well, I don't need the watch because it's about coaching me. And I was like, oh, like, so it is that like next level, isn't it? It's
Well, yeah,
really
you don't need the
bringing
watch
AI.
because it integrates into your
No.
phone, which is where you spend your time. Embrace it, and make it a positive experience for people rather than playing games and whatever else we do on phones. But yeah, that's really interesting. The thing is, though, we've always had access to that kind of data. What AI is doing is bringing it to life and making it really personal, and I guess, displaying that data that's really quite complex in nice, easy ways that we can understand through coaching and those smart nudges. So, yeah, it's kind of what we want to be seeing in the businesses too. We should also be doing and or having that kind of approach in the business, whether a spa, gym, hotel. How do we use data that we've always had access to and make it seamless and easy to understand and visualize it in the right ways, because it will have the same effect. It's all about personalization and engagement. So yeah, it's great that you brought it up. But yeah, there's a new version of Whoop that's come out quite recently, and the AI coaching is part of it. But what I will say on that is it is still quite expensive. So for the AI coach to be giving constant feedback to millions of people, that infrastructure cost is quite high. So there's still work to be done around the efficiencies from the infrastructure and how the LLMs, the open AIs, whatever it may be, are utilized. So they're still, I thought it was going to move a bit quicker than it had, but it's been slow because we're still navigating the cost side of it as well.
Yeah, because that's where it's different. Where you used to buy the wearable and then you just own it. Now it's a membership model, isn't it? So you
Yeah,
can choose the level of interaction that you have with your coaching.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and it was a complete eye opener to me because I thought I relatively knew what was happening, and then when he started to talk to me and show me the analytics behind it, I was like, wow. And I said,
yeah,
I guess what you're effectively saying is that we should be taking the data in our business and using AI to coach us in our business, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
We
essentially what you
there's
said. That
but there's
model.
yeah, there's two, but there are two buckets here. There's how do we use the personal data that they're potentially from the Whoops of the world, and how do we use that to personalize their experience once they're in our facility. But also for us as business owners, staff, how can we be coached by AI on our own data that we bring in to make us more effective and efficient? So we would probably call it a business assistant, but there are examples of agents that will help teams by coaching them. You can have a marketing agent, you can have your sales agent, you can have your research agent. There's lots of ways that you can bring AI into the business to integrate into your data and metrics, and then help coach you and make you better at your role. So yeah, there's definitely two buckets.
So I think, I mean, and that's obviously where we're starting to get more into like the practical elements of
Mm.
integrating AI into your business. So for spa managers, owners with limited tech experience, where should they start?
They've got to speak to the experts or people that are working in the space, because they'll be able to help introduce the right people, strategize for you. It's the same with any technology. You've got to have a digital strategy or a transformation journey that you're going through. You can't go from having no AI to some advanced system. There've got to be steps in place there where you go through the journey, and the first piece is data. If you don't have the data in the first place, that makes it really difficult. So you'll have to tick that box first, but you'll have to strategize about what are the outcomes for your business. Does it align with my business metrics and the vision for the company? And you don't want to be bringing AI in just for the sake of bringing AI in. And if we go back to COVID, we saw a similar example in the fitness space where, because of COVID, everyone was like, right, we need virtual, we need on demand at home. And they just brought any old solution in, didn't really think about the bigger picture. And most of those solutions did not carry on after COVID because it wasn't right for the company. So take the time
Yeah.
to ensure that you've got that strategy in place and it aligns with your vision and your goals, and it's step by step. And then finally, you're speaking to the right people to ensure that you're doing it in the right way, because there are a lot of people out there that say they're experts, etc. But you want to ensure that do your research on the businesses as well. Make sure they've got some good case studies that they're sharing and some insights that make sense to your business as well. Um, but yeah, it's the same with any new tech. There's a journey.
Yeah, so go out and reach out and find like a data analytics company, one that can then use AI and run sentiment against it to be able to deliver results so that you can then use that data, finding a way of using your data to
Mm.
enhance your guest experience. So there are specialists out there that
Yeah,
do this. Is that what you're,
yeah.
yeah?
There's either that or consultants that are working with companies that are integrating AI and have a strong digital background, because That obviously will have several case studies where they're working with a variety of different companies, but it's important that there aren't a massive amount of case studies in wellness at the moment, so you may have to look outside the box a little bit. But yeah, the strategy that comes with that is that framework should be transferable to wellness. So do your research, speak to people that you know.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's a great place because a lot of people who are good will share lots of insights and case studies and trends. People like Tiffany St. James that we spoke about earlier, you know, people that are actively talking about AI on a weekly basis, they're the ones that you should go to first. But I always think with early emerging tech, if you can get referrals from people that have already done it, that's great. But again, you may be the first, so it's very difficult to speak to people that you know and trust.
And where do you think the AI has the most untapped potential in spa operations? So is it the marketing, the scheduling, guest experience, revenue management, or another aspect?
It's all of it. It really is all of it. And again, it comes down to your business and what your focus is. What metrics are most important to you as a business because they're the ones that are going to matter. And there's probably AI that we haven't seen yet. For example, in the touchless wellness space, how is AI going to be integrated to improve that journey in a longevity circuit, for example, where there's some really amazing data that could be accessed? How is that going to improve an experience when you're face to face in a longevity circuit, which I experienced a couple of weeks ago, by the way. And straight away I was thinking, right, how does AI come into this? But there's there's areas of the business that haven't been thought about yet, or just haven't. There's no examples yet. But for me, if it's my business, I'm looking at my business metrics, where I want to be in 12 months, 24 months, and how is AI going to help me get there quicker? So all of them. There's room for everything. Yeah.
So I guess, how do you see AI supporting rather than overwhelming, which is how that just sounded like, just everything all at once?
But
Already
it
stretched far too who are juggling operational pressure and guest care, and now need to suddenly work out how to do chat GPT to do
it
their
can
guest
yeah.
scheduling or their marketing.
What are the biggest challenges in your business? What are the pain points that you're really, really struggling to overcome? Start there, because there will be some efficiencies and new concepts that AI can bring into that. So that would be where I would start as a business owner. What are the biggest challenges that I'm facing day to day? How can it help
Yeah.
me? But again, what are the business metrics that's going to affect? Because again, you've got the board, you've got your CEO, whoever is going to be on your case. So how's that affecting from a revenue perspective? Help me convert better. But I think pain points is always a good place to start. What are those biggest challenges? How can AI come in to solve some of those challenges? And it's usually, like you said, could be converting new leads or even finding new leads in the first place, getting people in front of our front of house and having those conversations with humans. Social media is a great one because you can set up some automated campaigns, content. There's some great tools out there. The likes of NA10 is a platform where you can it's a bit like Zapier, but the next level, where you can pretty much integrate any tool. You can integrate any model, so an OpenAI, a Claude, Perplexity. They can be integrated into processes to make it more efficient and automated, but really personalized. So if it's scraping Google Maps, for example, you could have it. You could have there's an app. There's a platform called Appify that's got some amazing apps within it where you can scrape leads. Right. So first of all, you can do that. Then you could use AI to enrich that to ensure that they're good leads and score those leads. Make sure they're in the right industry, got the right email address and phone number. Then you can use Claude to then write the content, personal content for each of those leads. And then you can
Yeah.
integrate your CRM system or membership management system so that all those leads that have been qualified, go into your system, and then your CTA could be, I want them to have a human interaction of some sort. So then that's the final stage. But there are ways to build processes and integrate AI along that process within a platform that will find you leads, score those leads and convert them into a prospect, and then let the humans take over. So yeah, I know some big challenges for a lot of spas and hotels. Lead generation, probably one of the biggest ones.
And so, what about? I mean, you talked about some tools there, sort of platforms and technologies. Are there any that are out there that are good to go? Because it sounded like a minute ago you're suggesting that you need to almost build your
You
own
do, yeah.
and connect everything together. Are there tools out there that are ready to go that will be like AI scheduling, where it will go into your spa software and move everything around to reduce white space? Are there ones that will go in there and look at your membership retention and analyze where you need to make adjustments to retain members? Are there those products out there, or is it very much you need to get
It's
someone in who's going to build it all for you?
well, so you kind of need to build it. There'll be certain tools that do certain things really well, but you quite often need some kind of LLM model, an OpenAI or a Claude or something similar, to bring that together and then to personalize. So a bit, they're not. It's not as tough as you think to build something like this. If you've got someone that's quite techie, they can work it out quite well. But there isn't something that you could just plug in and great, off we go. We're still at a stage where you're going to have to build out what we call an agent that's going to make a task or process more efficient. But NA10 is a great platform for any techies listening to check out if they haven't already. And then they're pretty good with the demos and explaining how to utilize that platform in the right way. And you can literally integrate anything. If it's got an API or it's got a webhook, you can integrate it into a process. So yeah, it's pretty much building your own agents, but you definitely should be speaking to someone that's got some kind of knowledge.
And so an agent is where it's going to perform a task for you and be a specialist in an area of your business. Is that correct? So like you would
Yeah,
build a lead generation agent.
yeah,
Eventually you'd like to have a scheduling agent,
yeah,
and you would build those, and that's their primary role. So they become that resource employee
yeah.
with an AI perspective. Is that right?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can have several agents that work within a bigger agent that becomes your sales agent, but within it you've got, like you said, lead generation and scheduling and content creation, and it looks really complex, but actually when you do it in stages, it's not as bad as you think. But yeah, it's still early days, so we're still learning and things are improving week on week. I follow people on Twitter and LinkedIn or X, and there's some amazing demos being shown for free. Actually, if you follow the right people, there's some amazing examples out there. But yeah, it's growing so quickly that we will sit here in 12 months and there'll be something completely different to talk about. And you never know, you may have that single plugin that off you go. It's going to learn everything about your business and set up all your automations. Off you go. And I would not be
That would
surprised if
be
that
the
was the
dream.
case. Yeah, well, it probably will happen at some point. So
But at the moment, it's very much custom build. It's you would need to decide what your pain point, like you're saying, is.
yeah,
Look at that, contact someone, look at the way you can build your own agent to then essentially train to do
yeah,
the task for you, and to
yeah.
then learn and then improve and learn and improve. There's nothing there at the moment from that kind of business management perspective that's like out the box ready to go.
No, no. But the other thing to consider is ownership of data and processes as well. If you're building it yourself and you own it, you've got the ability to scale it and adapt it. Quite often, if it's another platform coming in to all the other platforms that you have, you're making it more complex. You want to own that process and the data, ideally the platform that hosts it, because you kind of got all this. It's like everything glued together. You've got five, six, seven different platforms that are all trying to talk to each other.
Yeah.
It becomes really, really complex, and it's hard to scale. So if you can own it, and that agent can help you do that and make it really seamless, it's much better long term. You're setting yourself up for the future, rather than in 6 months' time I'm going to have to start again.
Yeah. Are there any spas, I'm putting you on the spot here, are there any spa or wellness businesses where you are aware through the Global Wellness Institute that have set up these processes, that have kind of really gone
Um,
into the AI things, or is spa still quite far behind compared to other industries and
they're still
businesses?
quite far behind. Wellness as a whole is when it comes to digital transformation. There are some out there that have started trialing things like using customer support agents, even just little chatbots. It's not really AI, but
Yeah.
having machine learning, dealing with the chat. But there's nothing really that exciting to share, and if there is, probably can't talk about them yet. But I, I think you kind of had to look outside of wellness for the really exciting projects. It's always been the same. We're
Yeah.
5, 10 years behind. I think it will speed up, and once a few of the early adopters get on board and share some use cases, which I know that they are coming, that it's things like sales agents, lead generation, conversions, and trying to get more leads in front of humans is the focus for a lot of these spas and hotels that are utilizing it. I'd like to see more kind of tap into personal data and activity data and
Yeah.
nutrition and sleep, because I think that's next level. If you've got access to behaviors and trends 360 of your users and members, those behaviors and trends help with your marketing, they help with your experience. So I'd like to see more of that. It doesn't really happen enough yet, but there definitely are efficiencies
Could
coming
you
in.
could you imagine if you got someone's Whoop data and you knew that they weren't sleeping well, and you could then market an email to you would
Exactly.
automatically market an email to them saying, we've got this fantastic sleep treatment and these sleep products. That would be
Mm,
insane, wouldn't it? If you could, without, you would know that guest so well through their data that would be connected
exactly.
into you, that you would be able to tell your agent, your AI agent, if you see these levels on their Whoop, you send them this email. If
Yeah.
they're not working out enough, you send them a reminder email to go to sign up for another PT. That is really customized, isn't it? Really customized.
Yeah, and for me, that's the exciting bit for me. So, like I said, I'm still waiting for some good examples of that. But
Yeah.
it will come. It's just I think the businesses are focusing on what's going to make us more efficient, what's going to convert better, how does that lead to more revenue quite quickly? Because there has to be a return on investment case for this, and for some businesses, maybe that personal touch isn't a direct link to revenue straight away. Whereas we know if we're converting more prospects into leads and leads into customers, it's going to affect the bottom line. So it will come. Yeah.
You want to start your foray into AI with a return on investment, essentially,
Yeah.
for the cost of setting up your models and your agents. And I
Yeah.
guess once you have that proof, and you've got that business proof, you can then go into the hyper personalization, and
Yeah.
it's easier to go that way, isn't it? To solve a pain
Of
point
course.
and then move into something else than it is to kind of come in and say, I want to change the world. I want everyone's data. I'm going to be hyper
Yeah.
personalized. People are going to love it, because that's not an easy sell, is it? Straight away.
No, and it's harder to track. And I think we know engagement leads to lifetime value increases. We know that people engage in your brand are going to come back more and refer more and spend more. There are examples of that, but it's harder to prove. And I think when you've got a direct link from I'm now converting 20, 30% more leads into customers, that's a nice, easy one for the board to sign off, isn't it?
Yeah, or your membership retention rate is
Yeah.
improved because they stay in, because they get this great contact from you asking them if they need to sleep more or work
Yeah.
out more. So if you could give one a piece of advice for spa leaders trying to future proof their business with AI, what would it be?
I think do your research and follow the right people, ask the right questions. It's got to be strategic. So I think start off if you haven't got a digital strategy for your business, that's where I would start. Ensure that's done. Once you've got there, then obviously it's in your strategy. You know what the next step is, but you have to start somewhere. And whether it's collecting the data in the first place or starting to enrich that data with AI just to understand it better and visualize it better. But that it has to come from your strategy. If you don't have one, that's the first thing.
Yeah, I think if you need to know where you're going, don't you? You need to road map it out and understand how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
I'm a big lover of data, so I think anything that makes it easier for people to be able to use that data to drive their business is a massive win, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. Yeah.
so no, that's been
Yeah.
really insightful. Um,
Great.
Andy, earlier you were talking to me about your wellness spa matrix, where a business can then assess itself on AI and its AI capabilities. Can you tell me a bit more about the tool, please?
Yeah, I've created a survey that helps you score your business on your digital journey, your transformation. So whether you're complete basic and you still use spreadsheets and collect data in that way and store it in that way, creating your own graphs, all the way through to utilizing some of the best AI tools out there to visualize everything, automate all your processes. So it really is simple, 12 questions, gives you a score on your business and some recommendations of what you can do based on where you
Wow,
are.
that's cool. And then they get the report and they can just start to integrate that into their business.
It just helps you understand where you are as a business in your digital journey. So the recommendations are with this score, we can see that you have some still have some manual processes. You still use spreadsheets. We recommend that you go and talk to a consultant or utilize this tool in some way. So it's really basic, high level, but it just gives you, that foundation of knowing where you are. It's awareness, isn't it, of where you are as a business, but it's tangible so that you can say, right, okay, we now need to start doing something, or we're doing really well. Great, everyone, pat yourselves on the back.
I'm not knowing the way Spa operates. I'm not sure that everyone is doing a huge amount of AI in
No,
their spas at the moment. So I think we might find that there are people who aren't obviously using spreadsheets anymore. I think we should be fair on that. The booking systems and
well,
things should be
you'd be
entering
surprised.
data, but
You'd
I
be,
could be pleasantly surprised.
you are surprised. You would be surprised by the spreadsheets, because this survey's been used before, and I've got some nice insights into how many people are using spreadsheets still.
Wow. Would you be able to share those insights with us? Is that something that we could have a look at and understand and kind of so people can see that they're not behind and actually maybe even
Yeah,
go, well, I'm still using spreadsheets. Actually, I'm part of the norm. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. We can do that.
Yeah, that would be amazing, I think, because sometimes, and I think I do the same as well, like you think, oh my God, AI is this thing, everyone's AIing, that's not a verb, but everyone's on it, everyone's doing this. But actually, when you do a reality check and you look at the insights like you're talking about,
Yeah,
people are still using spreadsheets. People
they are.
using
They are.
spreadsheets is more common. And actually, that can be a really nice reality check and give people the confidence to go, oh, okay, so I'm not unusual. I could
Yeah,
take my first step towards using more AI.
exactly. So yeah, let me pull together the insights and send it over to you along with the link. I'll ping it over to you. That's fine.
Perfect. Andy, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I think we have a lot to change in Spa, but we need to start these conversations to be able to get to where we think the
Yeah.
industry should be getting to. So I look forward to the day that someone sends me emails encouraging me to go for a massage to sleep more. I need
Yes,
that email.
exactly. Well, look, thanks for having me, and it's great that you've put this on because it's so important that people are up to speed with what's going on and what the potential is, and actually, like you said, there are still people using spreadsheets, so don't worry. You can start today and still, it's still early days with AI. That's the important thing.